Hi everyone, I'm Razia. Welcome to my channel. I'm here to help you make better skincare choices. So make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way you don't miss out on my weekly uploads. You can also check me out on Instagram and TikTok for more. We all know we're supposed to be applying sunscreen every single day, no matter what, rain, hail or shine. But now there's also a lot of talk about reapplying your sunscreen and how often you should be doing this. You'll also notice that on the back of your sunscreen bottles, it does say to reapply every 2 hours. If it doesn't say that, it'll say to reapply frequently. So today we're going to talk about why you need to be reapplying your sunscreen, how to go about reapplying this sunscreen, especially over makeup, and I'm also going to demonstrate some of my favorite ways to reapply sunscreen over my makeup. I'll be honest with you, this is something I hadn't figured out until very recently, and I was getting a lot of questions from you guys as well, asking me for my recommendations or my tips on how to reapply your sunscreen. So I finally figured everything out and I can share that with you today. So if you do find this video useful, make sure you do leave me a like down below. So you've finally gotten into the good habit of applying your sunscreen every morning, and you're like, yes, great, I've done it. And now all you're hearing from everyone is that's not enough, you need to reapply throughout the day. So let's talk about that a little bit. Why do we need to reapply our sunscreen throughout the day? The answer is honestly pretty simple. Your sunscreen just simply rubs off and wears out throughout the day. That even film of sun protection that you've applied in the morning doesn't last all day most of the time. Whether that's because of hair getting in your face, rubbing your face, for me, fixing my scarf a lot of the time during the day, all of that interferes with that film of sun protection that I've applied in the morning, and that sun protection and that sunscreen starts to wear off. If it's a hot day and maybe you're sweating a little bit, that will also contribute to the sunscreen breaking down. That SPF 50 that you applied in the morning isn't going to be SPF 50 all day, especially if you're constantly touching your face. And of course, reapplying your sunscreen is even more important for those that might be doing a little bit more physical activity during the day, like swimming, running, and sweating a lot. All of that is obviously going to be breaking down that sunscreen, so it's even more important for you to reapply. Now that we know a little bit more about why we should be reapplying our sunscreen, let's talk about whether this is something everyone needs to worry about and how you should go about reapplying. Not everyone's going swimming and doing exercise and sweating a lot every single day. So if you're not sweating, if you're not going outside, if you're not spending time in the sun, do you need to reapply? I think a little bit of common sense needs to be applied here, and I'll just talk about my situation for example. I work from home, so I'm spending a lot of my day indoors, if not my whole day basically. So in the morning, I'll apply my sunscreen as usual, and I'll be honest with you, I don't reapply my sunscreen when I'm just at home working. Yes, I know UVA does come in through the windows, but I'm not facing a window most of the day. My room, which is also my home office, is where I'm spending my whole work day, is a south facing room. I don't get any sunlight in that room. It's actually really annoying because my room is so dimly lit. And my back is facing the window most of the day. And I'm spending my whole day sitting on that chair, so I'm not getting any sun exposure. If I was in a different room, like for example the room I'm in now where I'm filming, I'm facing a window. So I always make sure to apply my sunscreen before I go into film because I know I'm going to be sitting in front of a window. This might be the same for a lot of you that might be working in an office building and you're not getting a lot of natural light in that building. Do you have to reapply your sunscreen every 2 hours if you're sitting in a building that's not getting tons of sunlight? Probably not. And you get to the end of the day, now it's time to go home, and if the sun is still out, this is when I would reapply my sunscreen. If I'm going to be sitting in the train, for example, for at least half an hour to an hour, or I'm going to be sitting in the car in traffic for up to an hour, this is when I would be reapplying my sunscreen before heading home for the day. And you might be wearing makeup and you don't want to disturb that makeup, so I'm going to cover some of my favorite reapplication methods later on in this video, so make sure you don't miss that one. Obviously everyone's work situations are different. The office example is just the easiest one to use. Another example would be, for example, if you're a teacher, you're primarily indoors when you're a teacher, but you might be on duty during recess or lunchtime, so you'll have to be outside for a period of time, and that would be when you would want to reapply your sunscreen and maybe wear a hat before going outdoors for playtime duty. The main scenario for me when you need to be very vigilant about reapplying your sunscreen is if you're spending your full day outdoors in the direct sun. Obviously a huge factor when it comes to people's willingness to reapply their sunscreen is the fact that they have makeup on, like I have on right now. So some finessing has had to be done, and we've had to come up with special ways that we can get the sun protection and still have our flawless beat, and we don't have to worry about the sunscreen ruining anything. There's a couple of ways that you can do this, and I'm going to go through them now, and I'm also going to demonstrate them for you as well. The first option I'm going to mention, I don't really like this one. I'm just going to get it out of the way, but do I recommend this one? would I use this one? Not really. And that's SPF powders. Measuring the SPF power of your sunscreen powder is really, really difficult. Each time you're reapplying, it's really hard to determine if you're applying the right amount. We know that when it comes to cream and lotion sunscreens, we need 1/4 teaspoon just for the face, 1/2 teaspoon for face, neck, ears, etc. And then when it comes to these powders, it's really hard to determine how much of that powder you need to be applying to get the right amount of protection. If you want to check out Lab Muffin's video on this, she even talked a little bit more in depth about this. She reached out to the companies that make SPF powders, and all of them had something different to say when it comes to how much powder you should be applying. If I need to be applying tons of powder as someone with dry skin, that's really just not a good method to use at all. So just get that one out of the way. You can try it if you like. It's not my favorite. Moving on, we have the second way to reapply your sunscreen over your makeup, and that's using a sunscreen spray. There's been a few of these that have come onto the market recently, but only recently have we had some options available in Australia. First, we have the Naked Sundays Sunscreen Mist. This one was released not too long ago by a new sunscreen company, and this one got a lot of hype online because finally we have an Australian approved sunscreen mist, so that's so exciting. And also recently, the Neutrogena Ultra Sheer Face Mist also became available in Australia as well. So I'm going to be trying both of those options for you today. And as I'm demonstrating these different methods, we'll talk a little bit about the pros and cons of each and help you decide which one would be the best reapplication method for you. I really do like the idea of sunscreen mists, but the thing here is you need to make sure you're applying the right amount of product so that you're getting adequate sun protection. The directions on the Naked Sundays Glow Mist actually do say that you want to at least do 7 sprays around the face to make sure you're getting adequate sun protection, or alternatively you can get yourself 1/4 teaspoon and spray into that teaspoon and see how many sprays it would take to fill up the spoon. Another thing to consider when using mists is when you do mist, all of the mist is not landing on your face, a lot of it's escaping into the air around you. So that's another thing to account for. You might want to do 1 or 2 more spritzes to account for that lost mist. You want to make sure you're not in a windy area when you're applying your face mist, because I mean, if you're in a windy area, none of that is going to land on your face, and you might as well not be spraying anything at all, to be honest. Also, would I recommend using an SPF mist if you're at the beach? No, not at all. If you're at the beach and you need to reapply your sunscreen, just use a regular cream. Be careful when you are applying your sunscreen mist. Make sure you're not inhaling anything when you are misting. Make sure you have your eyes closed and make sure you have your lips tucked in as well. After you're done misting, step away from that area and step into somewhere with clean air before you open your eyes and breathe again, because you don't want to be inhaling those sunscreen particles. That's not advised. I'm gonna lower the brightness and zoom you in as well so that you can get a good look. Don't mind the pores and the facial hair, if it's there, if you can see it. Alright, so you can see it's a very glowy finish, and it does say it is a hydrating glow mist, so it's true to its name. Obviously not everyone likes a super glowy finish, so you might want to go over this with some translucent powder, and if you want to be super vigilant about your sun protection, you can go over this with a sunscreen powder. And I think that would be the only way I would recommend using a sunscreen powder. You can just go in with some powder to help mattify that a little bit. All right, let's use a little hypothetical now. So say I'm finished working, I was in the office, I was indoors all day, now it's time to head home. Sun is still out and I've got like a half an hour drive ahead of me. So that's half an hour of me being in the car, in the sun. I think a mist like this would be perfect in this scenario. Quick top up of my sunscreen before heading home. I think that mist definitely shows that you can reapply your sunscreen over your makeup and it doesn't have to be such a disaster. Next, let's see how the Neutrogena Ultra Sheer Face Mist holds up. You can get the Naked Sundays mist from their website, it's about $40 I think, and you can get the Neutrogena mist from Chemist Warehouse and it's about $25. I'll zoom you right in so you can have a look. And yes, we do have a fresh base, reapplied my base on so that we could really test how this will affect my makeup. Okay, so first impression. Obviously I'm very, very glowy right now. Let's see how this dries down. It does say it's supposed to have a matte finish on the bottle. Let's see how true that is. The actual mister was a lot nicer on the Naked Sundays. This one felt a lot more aggressive. This is the Naked Sundays mist. Very nice. And this is the Neutrogena mist. I hope that's giving you an accurate picture of what that looks like on the skin. And we're just going to take some powder again to dim down that shine a little bit. And there you go, we've reapplied our sunscreen. We haven't really messed up our makeup too much. Now we're going to try out the final sunscreen reapplication method. And that's using a sponge like this one, as recommended by Miss Hannah English over on Instagram. She specifically recommends this microfiber sponge from Juno & Co. because it doesn't absorb as much product as a regular sponge. And use it dry to make sure the sponge is not absorbing too much of that sunscreen. And this is when you would go in with your regular cream or lotion sunscreen. I think something very thin and lightweight would be the best option for this kind of reapplication method. With this method, it's inevitable your makeup will be disturbed and you will have to reapply it if you want that flawless coverage again. So I think this method is great for those that want to be a lot more thorough with their sunscreen reapplication. But you do have to be prepared to reapply your makeup afterwards. So you can see that one definitely did disturb my makeup the most out of the 3 different applications we did. And there's also some makeup on the sponge there. So it definitely did disturb the makeup and even took some away. Otherwise, that's a really good reapplication method for those wanting to be extra thorough. So that's that. I hope you really found this video useful. It's one that a lot of people have been asking for a while. So I hope I answered all your questions. I hope I helped you understand why you need to reapply and what's the best way to go about reapplying it for your specific situation. Make sure you hit the thumbs up if you found this video useful. Make sure you leave me a comment down below and let me know if you've tried any of these. If you have any secret reapplication hack that you want to share with everyone, let us know down below. Make sure you subscribe. Don't go anywhere, check out some of the other videos I have on my channel. I uploaded my Inkey List brand review last week, so check that out if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one.